Hey everyone, let's jump right into today's explainer because we are looking at an absolutely incredible story of personal transformation. Today, we're diving into Glennon Doyle's wildly popular memoir, Untamed. This is a journey all about breaking out of those invisible cages we build around ourselves. The ones made of societal expectations, perfectionism, and fear. It's really about finding peace by fundamentally challenging how we approach love, parenting, and just growing as human beings. So if you've ever felt like you're losing your direction, or maybe striving for dreams that don't even feel like your own anymore, you are absolutely not alone, and that is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
I want to start us off with this deeply moving thought directly from Glennon. Grief is love's souvenir. It's our proof that we once loved. Grief is the receipt we wave in the air that says, look, love was once mine. Just take that in for a second. She goes on to say, I loved well. Here is my proof that I paid the price. I wanted to bring this up right at the start to set the emotional tone for everything we're about to talk about. This entire journey is about paying the price for an authentic life. Turning your life around from the roots up, it's exceptionally hard, and yeah, it brings grief, but it's literally the cost of admission for truly experiencing authentic love and getting to live a life that actually belongs to you.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to break today's explainer down into 3 core pillars: the danger of hiding, rethinking the perfect parent, and embracing your true destiny.
Starting with Part 1, the danger of hiding and why you should never repress your true self.
There are times in life when we feel totally stuck in places we simply do not belong. And forcing ourselves to fit into those boxes, it really only leads to profound unhappiness. Now, what's fascinating about Glennon's situation is the massive, almost jarring disconnect in her life at this time. On paper, she had what society completely agrees is the picture-perfect life. She had a husband, wonderful kids, a thriving career, a healthy family, check, check, check. But internally, her reality was entirely different. She wasn't attracted to her husband, she was completely exhausting herself just keeping up appearances for her friends and family. Honestly, she was deeply, quietly unhappy. She had set these completely unfitting life guidelines for herself, forcing her true nature into hiding. It was her cage. She was doing everything right, but her spirit was just suffocating.
And then, the catalyst arrived. She met Abby Wambach. When Glennon met Abby, the woman she would eventually fall in love with, she described it as her soul suddenly feeling unsettled, disrupted, and entirely different. The cage literally broke open. Through some incredibly tough introspection, she realized her true identity and sexual orientation. And suddenly, there was nothing holding her back from being her unapologetic self. She realized that getting a divorce, no matter how crazy it might look to the outside world, was her best and frankly her only choice to escape that unhappiness and finally live authentically. Which brings us to our second pillar, rethinking the perfect parent, and the radical idea of putting yourself first.
This hits on a deep-seated fear pretty much every parent on Earth has, the fear of making a personal decision that might somehow ruin your kid's life. Society feeds us this idea of the perfect parent. And let's be real, it's an impossible feat. Yet, it's a standard that pressures loving mothers and fathers everywhere into staying in deeply unhappy situations just for the sake of their kids. Glennon was totally the kind of parent who prided herself on doing everything right. So when she first realized she needed a divorce, she felt awful. The guilt was just crushing. She fell right into that trap of thinking that staying unhappy, sacrificing her own soul, was the ultimate duty required of her to protect her kids from a broken home. She essentially believed her own misery was the shield keeping her kids safe.
But as she was agonizing over this decision, she had this pivotal, light bulb moment. What if her daughter went through this exact same situation? Imagine her own child decades down the road struggling in a lifeless, suffocating marriage and staying just for the kids. How would she, as a mom, feel watching her daughter endure that? Without a shadow of a doubt, Glennon realized she would tell her daughter to do everything in her power to break free and find happiness. She would never ever want her child to suffer in a cage of her own making. And in that moment of profound clarity, she knew exactly what she had to do for herself.
So the crucial point here is that pursuing your own happiness actually makes you a far better role model for your kids. I mean, what kind of example was she really setting if she stayed miserable? She'd just be teaching them to settle. By choosing the incredibly hard path of divorce, by choosing authenticity and joy, she didn't ruin her children's lives. She actually strengthened her image as a loving, supportive, and brave role model. She showed them how to truly live. And today, she has a wonderful relationship with her kids and her ex-husband, which really proves that putting your authentic self first is sometimes the best parenting decision you could possibly make.
Let's move into our final pillar, embracing your true destiny. When it's meant to be, it will be.
Let's see how this all builds, because this is all about letting go of pretending. Letting go of trying to be the perfect mother, the perfect Christian, the perfect wife, and instead just trusting what is meant for you. The sequence of events here is pretty wild. First, Glennon had to realize her truth. Hard enough, right? But then came the absolutely terrifying timing of having to announce her divorce to her fans, right as she was scheduled to go on a massive tour for a book she'd written about her supposedly repaired marriage. Most people would have hidden the truth to protect their career, for sure, but she realized pretending wasn't an option anymore. So, she let her followers know exactly what was going on. No hiding, no excuses, just the raw truth. And what happened? Did everything collapse? Actually, no! By refusing to hide, she went on a wildly successful book tour, and she completely thrived with her new partner, Abby.
Because she didn't fight her destiny, everything aligned. All the arrows were finally pointing in the right direction. The timing seemed like a massive disaster waiting to happen, but it ended up just being a bump in the road. Instead of destroying her career, her radical honesty resonated deeply with people. Her book release was a huge success, her love life blossomed, and most importantly, she finally found true peace in her heart. When you stop fighting what's meant to be, and you actually rely on your intuition, which, let's face it, is often the best tool we have, things finally click right into place.
Finally, unlocking your own cage and following your intuition.
And this brilliantly illustrates the 3 core lessons from Glennon's journey to help us cement all this knowledge. First, do not repress your true self. No matter how shiny and perfect your life looks on the outside, if it doesn't match your internal reality, it's just going to lead to unhappiness. Second, sometimes putting yourself first is exactly what makes you a better parent, a better friend, or a better partner. It gives the people around you permission to seek their own joy too. And third, stop fighting your destiny. Trust your gut, stop pretending to be what society expects you to be, and just step into the life that is actually waiting for you.
So, I want to leave you with this final, incredibly important question to reflect on. Are you living a life that truly feels like your own? Or are you just keeping up appearances in a cage of your own making? Take a little time to think about that today. If you feel that familiar, unsettling feeling in your soul, well, maybe it's time to break the cage open. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this empowers you to embrace your most unapologetic self. Catch you next time.